Starring Bela Day in...
But Ma, that's my favorite movie. Oh, well, all right. But don't you spend too much time in front of that TV, do you hear me? Yes, Ma. You are definitely going to want to roll up one for this episode. Hello, welcome to another episode of my podcast, But Ma, that's my favorite movie, and I am your host, Bela Day. So if you're new to this podcast, what I do is introduce movies. We may critique them a little, but that's not what we're all about. We normally have two different styles of episode, and today's episode style is where I have a theme and I'll talk about two movies that have a plot that is centered around the subject of the episode. So today's episode is titled, But Ma, That's My Favorite Stoner Movie. So in honor of 420, I decided it would be fun to talk about some movies that are notoriously known about the marijuana. And I like to plan my episodes around certain holidays or just certain special or unique days that come up because I think it's just fun to do. All right, now before we do get into the movies, I want to let you know about our social media. So please follow our social media pages for a sneak peek about upcoming episodes and what movies we will be discussing. And how I do that is with a game called Guess the Movie or the Theme. And pretty much what I do is I create these visuals where it'll have stills of the movie and you can just guess from the particular movies that I picked what the theme would be about. Now we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I also have a website that is titled But Ma, That's My Favorite Movie.com, where you will be able to write reviews about the podcast and also give movie or theme suggestions. Now, all the handles and the link to the website are in the show notes / description box below. Now, make sure if you are loving the episodes, you're feeling the content that I'm putting out, to shout us out by tagging our pages on social media or giving us a review on Apple Podcasts or the website. Now, if you do this, you'll definitely get a shout out on the episode, and I'll also do a drawing in order to, do a couple giveaways to whoever is, shouting us out. So definitely be on the lookout for that. All right. So to get into our theme a little bit more, like I said earlier, happy 420. We're going to be talking about movies where pretty much the characters get high and then some other stuff happens. I'm personally not into the devil's lettuce, but I know so many people that are. So I figured this would be a cute little episode for all of my little stoner peeps who I know will definitely appreciate this. So go ahead, pause for a moment to light one up. Now, I know I am kind of posting this episode kind of late, but you know what? If you're a normal smoker, this ain't nothing to you. So, you light up whenever. It don't have to be just for 420, okay? All right. So, like I said, if you need to pause for a moment, get your little self situated, and you can resume the episode and enjoy these movies we're about to talk about. All right. So, the first movie that we're going to talk about is Lights, Camera, Action. I thought hurricane season was over. Okay, so let me elaborate this quote a little bit so it makes a little sense, because I absolutely adore this quote and it is my favorite. So basically in this scene, this is when we first meet Saul, and he is actually watching an episode of 227, and one of the characters say, I thought hurricane season was over, it's supposed to be a joke. And so he just mimics her oh, I thought hurricane season was over. But I don't know why. It's just the way, James Franco, who is the person who plays Saul. It was just too perfect. I absolutely just love that line. All right. So the first movie we're talking about is, if you haven't guessed it already, Pineapple Express, which was released August 6, 2008. The writers are Seth Rogen, who also wrote for Superbad and The Green Hornet. And then we have Evan Goldberg, who also wrote Superbad and the movie The Watch. The director is David Gordon Green. And please excuse the pooch in the background. I guess she decided to participate in this episode as well. But anywho, so yeah, the director we have is David Gordon Green. He wrote for or directed the movie Halloween in 2008. And I thought it was interesting. He's actually going to be directing Halloween Kills, which is a sequel to the newest Halloween that had came out, the more recent one, and also The Exorcist. So I thought that was very, very interesting. And let's go ahead and get into the summary. So we have Dale, who is one of the main characters. He is working as a process server, and he is driving around smoking in between, the different people that he's stopping to serve. And if you aren't sure what a process server is, it's just someone who has to serve documents to people whenever for whatever, if they're being served to court, or let's say they missed their court date or whatever the case may be. They're just basically making sure the documents are in their hands, so they are aware that they have to appear in court for whatever reason. And pretty much those people end up always hating him because no one wants to be served, because of course no one ever wants to go to court. So people try to avoid it as long as they can. But if you get in touch with the server, then, that's going to ruin all your little plans. I don't know. I've never met a server in real life. So I don't know if people really do hate them like that, or if they have to dress in disguises like Dale was doing throughout the movie. But the way that they set it up and what he did, it was perfect. So anyways, so Dale is, smoking in between, I guess you can say, his customers. And he's calling into a radio station, pretty much hogging up the line to weigh in about different topics that the station is talking about. And some of the topics are like how there shouldn't be anything wrong with like an older guy dating a younger girl, and also how, marijuana should be legal, and how you have to pretend that you are friends with your plug, because they usually tend to try to be really buddy with you and think that y'all are actually friends, but you don't want to hurt their feelings. But Dale expresses that he basically finds that annoying that he does have to do that. And so, yeah, he's just weighing in all these little topics on the radio, pretty much just living his best life, working, smoking, and just talking his ish on the radio. And so at one point he does stop by his girlfriend's school, and his girlfriend's name is Angie. And no, it's not, well, I said school because I meant school, not college, school, high school. And pretty much he tells her that he can't make it to dinner with her parents. And this obviously upsets her because she really wants her parents to finally meet him. And he knows that he's obviously going to be judged if her parents meet him because of the age difference. And so also you can just tell that he's not really just into doing all of that extra stuff. But as they're talking, they do get interrupted by one of the teachers, who actually notices that Dale looks a little bit too old for Angie. And so he pretty much tries to like tell him like, hey, I see something's going on here. Don't want to see it. I suggest you go. And then that teacher ends up getting distracted because another student walks up, and his name is Clark. And immediately, Clark, he's this fit young guy, and he pretty. Hello everyone, this is Bila Day. Sorry to interrupt this episode, but I just wanted to let you know that you were only listening to a preview. So if you would like to listen to the rest of this episode, then you can definitely go to the website, butmathat'smyfavoritemovie.com, or you can go directly to any of these platforms for the full episode. We are available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Castbox. Please don't hesitate to follow the podcast on any of those platforms so that you can be notified anytime a new episode is available. If you didn't know, our primary release day is every Thursday. But be on the lookout for bonus content as well. Now, if you've listened to the But Ma, That's My Favorite Movie podcast before, that's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. So if you have a friend that loves movies like we do, then definitely go ahead and share this podcast with them. And if you're a new listener and you do end up enjoying the podcast, well, then you go ahead and share with a friend too. Also, don't forget to like any of our social media pages so that you can also get updates and regular information about the podcast and about any of the episodes that are coming up. The social media sites that we have a presence on are Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also, if you want to leave a review, whether constructive or positive, we'd appreciate that too. All right, go ahead and get over to one of the other platforms so we can finish getting into the rest of these movies.